Hey y'all, it's your Missniecytv and I'm here to do a review for Sistas Season 9, Episode 3. The episode picks up where we're left off and Karen is still flatlined and Andy and Sabrina are screaming for help, and I'm like, why don't y'all just go to the door to ask for help? So that something's wrong with Karen and y'all need help immediately. After the girls have officially screamed their head off for like 10 minutes, Dr. Vaughn comes in. He checks Karen and tells the girls that Karen's cold blue. He tells them that they need to leave so that they can do an emergency C-section because if they don't get the babies out now, Karen could die. Out of all the medical TV shows that I watched, I swore Cold Blue but the person has died. In Tyler Perry's world, that must mean the person's just unconscious. Sabrina's yelling that she don't want to leave Karen, and Andy's like, we have to let them work, we can't be in their way. Andy and Fatima are waiting outside in the hallway so that they can hear the rest of the news, and Andy tells them that Karen's unconscious, even though that the doctor says she's cold blue, but okay. Sabrina's still yelling that she wants to go in there and see Karen, and Danny's like, we can't go in there. They have to do their job. You don't need to be in their way right now. Andy says that she's about to go talk to Dr. Cruz, right? But before she does that, Andy's just standing in the middle of the hallway, just staring, and Fatima's like, are you okay? Andy's like, yeah. Just imagine all the things that's going through Andy's head right now. She hasn't even had the chance to deal with the whole situation with Gary and Hudson, and now she has to deal with her best friend losing her baby, her best friend technically losing her life. As Andy steps away to go talk to Dr. Cruz, that's when Nurse Rhonda comes out and she's like, I need to speak to the next of kin. Danny's like, what's wrong? Is she okay? Nurse Rhonda's like, I need to know if she has a medical will. And that's when Miss Lisa walked up and she's like, what's going on with my daughter and why does she need a medical will? Nurse Rhonda's like, Karen is fighting in there and I just need to know if she has a DNR, which is a do not resist. Nurse Rhonda's like, so do you want us to do CPR if we can? Miss Lisa's like, do everything that you can to save her life. Andy finally talks to Dr. Cruz and Dr. Cruz immediately is like, what do you want? I'm not your friend's doctor anymore. You don't need to talk to me. You need to talk to Dr. Vaughn. Andy's basically like, let me tell you something. If something happens to my friend or her baby, trust me, you gonna pay for it. Dr. Cruz is like, what's that supposed to mean? Andy's like, I'm Andrea Barnes Esquire. Trust me. Dr. Cruz basically goes on to say, I know it was good for Karen and her bodies, but if she wants to deliver them babies by C-section, she can by all means. I don't think Dr. Cruz really knows how stupid he's out. Then we see Danny and Sabrina talking and Sabrina's freaking out and Danny's like, if you don't calm down, we're going to go to the parking lot and smoke some. Then they try to switch the subject so that they could get their mind off of Karen and the babies for the moment. Danny tells Sabrina about the whole Tony situation and him having to move to Alaska, and she's like, I'm not going, so don't even ask me. Danny's like, I don't want him to have to choose between me and the job, though. Sabrina's like, well, look at it like this. If he does choose, he's choosing love. I think some time passes and Zach comes out to talk to Fatima about everything that's going on with the C-section. He's like, Aaron's nervous. I'm nervous. I don't know what to do. Fatima's like, I need you to stay strong. I need you to stay strong for Aaron and Karen. Zach is like, I'm scared for Karen, but not in that way, though. Fatima's like, I know, and I know that you love her, and I know that you're scared for her. Fatima gives Zach some words of encouragement. She's like, I love you, and I love the fact that you always find the positive in negative situations, and you always bring joy to people when they're down. Zach is like, I thought you loved me because I was fine. I'm like, Zach, this is not the moment to play, but trust me, I get it. Fatima's like, I need you to stay strong for me and the girls. We all need you right now, and Aaron needs you too, and Miss Lisa. Speaking of Aaron, Zach finds Aaron in the hallway. He's freaking out. Zach is like, hey, yo, you good with God? You're a preacher, right? Aaron's like, yeah. Zach is like, why don't we just pray? Remember when Zach had a conversation with Andy and he's like, I pray sometimes? I think that was foreshadowing for this situation. But Aaron starts to begin to pray and he can barely get through it, so Zach takes over. And when I tell you that was the most beautiful prayer, I was like, Zach, you really know how to pray for me. Miss Lisa walks up after Zach's done praying and she's like, Zach, that was beautiful. And they see that she's dressed and Aaron's like, I thought only 2 people were left. Miss Lisa's like, I told them if they didn't want any more chaos in the hospital today to let me go through. She's like, I do want to thank you both for being there for Karen and the baby. Then Sabrina starts talking to Danny about how she doesn't have control over her life anymore and she wants to take her control back. And Danny's like, what you talking about? So Sabrina tells Danny about the whole Rich situation, how she caught him with Penelope, and she's like, dang, Penelope, she's trying to move around the crew, ain't she? As they're talking, Rich calls Sabrina to apologize, and Sabrina's like, I don't want to talk to him. Danny's like, I got it. And when she answers the phone, she calls Rich everything but a child of God, and when I tell you, it was so hilarious. Then we see the girls talking and Danny asks Fatima how she's doing and Fatima's like, I really haven't had a chance to sit down and think. Fatima's like, even though me and Karen always haven't had the best relationship, I still love and care for her and I want her to be okay. And he's like, I know all about that. Then they start talking about how Karen's not going out like this. She's been stubborn this way since college and then they start showing. That's when Miss Lisa walks up with tears in her eyes, and she's like, girls, and we already knew what happened, that one of the babies was actually confirmed to pass away. And we see Zach sitting in his room, and he kicks over this cart, and he's just breaking down crying, and Fatima's like, what's wrong? He's like, the baby's gone. It shouldn't have been this way. Why did it have to end this way? This is not fair. Zach really broke my heart in this scene. I felt so much emotion for him, because it's like, he thought that he was going to be able to experience having a little baby girl for the first. Now that's being stripped away from him, and he thought that he was going to be able to experience every milestone with this baby, because he never got to experience it with Michael. Then we see Danny having a conversation with Sabrina, and this is after they find out the news that one of the babies have passed away. And Danny's like, I don't want to have kids. You see what just happened to Karen, and I don't want to go through that. You can have all the technology in the world, and something could still go wrong. I honestly thought that it would be Sabrina to be the one that said that, but it was Danny. And Sabrina's like, it's crazy how you can walk into a hospital and one doctor can change your whole life. Danny's like, you already know what it is. Doctors don't believe you until you're dead, and you can't tell me that the way Dr. Cruz treated her wasn't the cause for this. As Danny's talking, she sees Dr. Cruz, and she's like, hey, just watch your back for the rest of your life, and trust me, Dr. Cruz, you might want to do that, because Danny's definitely standing up. But like I said, Danny, you might not have to do anything to Dr. Cruz, because God's going to get him first, because God don't play about his kids. Then we see Andy walk out with Dr. Vaughn, and Dr. Vaughn's basically telling them, I'm so sorry for your loss, and the best way to help Karen get through this is to comfort her, and you can go see her if you like. And the girls, of course, said that they want to go see her. The girls go to see Karen, and the first thing they ask is, Karen, how you feeling? Karen's like, my belly feels like it's on. Karen's like, where's my mom? Andy's like, your mom is out in the hallway talking with the doctors with Aaron. And she's like, where's my babies? And then that's when Dr. Vaughn comes in, and Karen says, where's my babies at? Dr. Vaughn is like, well, you gave birth to one healthy baby girl, and as you may know, the other baby girl has passed away. She was a stud. Karen's like, my baby, and then she starts to cry, and then that's when Dr. Vaughn walks out so that the girls can console her. The girls are like, we're gonna get through this together, and Karen's like, where's Zach? We see Zach talking to Fatima, and he's continuing the story about what happened, about how Karen gave birth to both of the baby girls, and only one of the baby girls was crying. And Zach kept asking what's going on with the other baby. Zach said that the doctor looked at him like he knew that Zach couldn't handle the truth. Fatima's like, so how did they figure out which baby was which? He's like, me and Arian were looking at each other because we thought the same thing. We were thinking the same thing. They went to go test the babies and come back to find out it was mine. And Zach was like, the baby girl was so perfect. She fit in my hand. She was so perfect. Why did it end this way? And then my heart really breaks for everyone in this situation. Nobody deserved this. And Dr. Cruz is definitely going to pay for what he did. Just hope that everyone will come together and support Karen and Zach in this situation. Because Zach needs support too. And Karen definitely needs all the support that she can get. Back in the room with Karen, Karen's still emotional and she's crying and she's like, I was supposed to be a mother too. Sabrina's like, you are a mother. And Sabrina's totally right about that, because whether the baby is alive or not, you're still their mother. You carried them. And he's like, do you need anything? Karen's like, yeah. And he's like, what do you want? Karen's like, I just want my baby to be alive. And Zach said the same exact thing when he was talking to Fatima. Karen's like, what am I supposed to tell her sister? Danny's like, well, you know how we just came in here and comforted you and told you what was going on? We'll tell your daughter the same thing. Together. The doctor informs Karen that she will be able to hold the baby and that it might be very therapeutic for her. And she asks Karen, does she want to hold the baby? And Karen's like, of course I do. So the nurse brings the baby in. She hands the baby to Karen, and Karen's like, she has my nose. And Danny's like, she has Zach's big head too. And they all. Andy's like, do you have a name for her? Karen looks at the baby for a second, and she's like, Forever Taylor. I'm like, aw, that's a very cute name, but then I thought about it. This is her way of saying that she's forever tied to Zach and the bond that they share. I wonder how Zach and Karen will both wait until the stages agree that they both have to go through and help them find healthy ways and not ways that are destructive to them. My heart goes out to anyone who's ever been through this. Karen has finally given birth. Let me know what you guys think about this episode. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn your bell notifications. Bye!